mahagilap ng mga taga-kamara si Attorney Harry Roque matapos muling ipasight in contempt sa pagdinig ng Quad Committee kahapon. Sinubukan siyang puntahan ng mga otoridad sa kanyang opisina pero wala silang napala.
I would want to make a motion that Attorney Roque should be detained in the Women's Correction. Women's Correction. Hindi po. Doon na lang sa bikutan natin. Mr. Chair, sorry po sa pagkakamali.
So, is that a motion, Congressman Abante? Or Congressman Kit?
After being detained and after apologizing to the members of the House, Attorney Roque then went on Facebook and posted, and I quote, "In my view, the contempt ruling smacks of abuse of power and political harassment against an anti-Marcos Jr. critic like me," end of quote. Ay napaka-doble cara naman pala ni Attorney Harry Roque, Mr. Chair.
It came from the mouth of Attorney Harry Roque. This is an admission, therefore, Mr. Chair, that he admits the connection of these documents which we are requiring from him from the investigation on Pogo operation that we are conducting right now. To further explain, Mr. Chair, it was admitted that he was the presidential spokesperson during that time with a very limited income. And then we asked him, where did this 65 million came from? Where did this money came from? And he could not explain except that he sold a certain property in multinational company in Parañaque. To conclude, Mr. Chair, there is a question about the source of the money of Biancham Corporation, which belongs to Attorney Harry Roque. And following his question, if he will not be able to prove the legal and valid source of this sudden increase of assets of Biancham, then there is a reasonable ground to believe that indeed he is connected with Pogo operation and this money possibly came from the Pogo operation.
I move, Mr. Chair, that we hold Harry Roque in contempt, Attorney Harry Roque in contempt for refusing to submit the document subject of the subpoena duces tecum, and of which he has manifested that he was going to submit to this committee, Mr. Chair. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Aarestuhin at ididetain muli ng Kamara de Representantes si dating presidential spokesperson Harry Roque matapos siyang isight in contempt ng Quad Committee dahil sa hindi niya pagdalo sa pagdinig at hindi pagsusumite ng mga dokumento tungkol sa yaman ng kanyang pamilya. Sa pagdinig nitong Huwebes ng 4 na committee na nag-iimbestiga tungkol sa iligal na operasyon ng Pogo at mga patayan sa war on drugs ng Administrasyong Duterte, inaprubahan ni Surigao del Norte Representative Robert A. Barbers, pinuno ng isa sa mga committee, ang motion na isight in contempt at i-detain si Roque. Nais ng mga kongresista na isumite ni Roque ang makailangang dokumento na magpapatunay na hindi galing sa iligal na gawain ang pagtaas ng yaman ng kanyang pamilya na nangyari sa panahon ng Administrasyong Duterte. Batay sa impormasyon ng committee, mula sa 125,000 pesos na yaman ng Biancham Holdings and Trading ng pamilya, tumaas ito sa 3.125 million pesos noong 2015 at naging 67.7 million noong 2018. Naupong presidente si Rodrigo Duterte mula 2016 hanggang 2022. Una rito, pumayag noon si Roque na isumite ang mga dokumento na magpapaliwanag sa pagtaas ng yaman ng kanyang pamilya. Pero ayon kay Batangas Representative Luistro, naghain si Roque ng motion to quash o ibasura ang subpoena duces tecum na nagpapatawag sa naturang mga dokumento. Dagdag pa ni Luistro, kahit ibinasura na ng Quadcom ang motion ni Roque, pero muli umano itong naghain ng motion na pareho lang ang argumento na nagsasabi na ang mga hinihinging dokumento are not germane to the inquiry in aid of legislation. Igini din umano ni Roque ang kanyang right to privacy. Ngunit giit ni Luistro, nakasaad sa Supreme Court decision sa Sabio versus Gordon na the right to privacy is subordinated to the right to public information in matters of public interest. Kasunod nito, hiniling ni Bukidnon Representative Kate Flores na isight in contempt si Roque at i-detain hanggang hindi nito isisinumite ang mga kailangang dokumento. Inaprubahan ang naturang motion ni Flores. I would want to make a motion that Attorney Harry Roque should be detained in the Women's Correctional. Hindi po. Doon na lang sa bikutan, Mr. Chair. Sorry po sa pagkakamali. Ang natawang sinabi ni Kong Benny Abante. Sa text message sa GMA News Online, sinabi ni Barbers na mistulang arrest warrant ang contempt laban kay Roque, kaya kailangan siyang dalhin sa kamara para i-detain. Dati nang na-detain ng isang araw sa kamara si Roque matapos din i-cite in contempt. Sa Facebook page, sinabi ni Roque na nahusgan na siya ng committee at sinabing dapat sampahan na lang siya ng kaso sa korte. Tinawag din niya na political inquisition against the Duterte family and me as their outspoken ally. Ang ginagawang investigasyon ng Quadcom. Nagpaliwanag din siya kung bakit hindi niya isinumite ang anyay personal documents.
Hindi na mahagilap ng mga taga-kamara si Attorney Harry Roque matapos muling ipasight in contempt sa pagdinig ng Quad Committee kahapon. Sinubukan siyang puntahan ng mga otoridad sa kanyang opisina pero wala silang napala.
Kanina, hindi na siya mahagilap ng hahainan na dapat ng arrest order ng Kamara. Ayon kay House Secretary General Reginald Velasco, sinubukang puntahan ng mga tauhan ng Kamara si Roque sa kanyang opisina pero wala raw ang abogado.
It was already served sa law firm niya, no? Pero wala siya eh. Cannot be located. So, in-inform na rin yung mga law enforcement agencies to look for him and serve the order.
Post mo kanina na pinadala sa akin, shinare na rin natin.
Okay, maraming salamat. Ano na lang, ha?
Sige,
wala na. Okay, ha?
Okay, sir. Going to that issue ngayon, no? So, yun, second contempt daw. And then, from our understanding, parang may bagong arrest order to detain you?
Hindi na ako nagtataka dyan, no? Kasi alam niyo, dati naman akong galing dyan sa kamera. Ang sinabi sa akin ng mga matatali kong kaibigan dyan, talagang pupuruhan ako, hindi lang dahil ako talaga ay kumbaga kaalyado ng mga Duterte. Kung hindi, ang sabi daw ni Speaker Romualdez, ako daw ang responsable doon sa bangag na video, yung pulveronic video na ipinalabas ni Maharlika. Ang nakapagtataka, bakit nila ako pagsususpetsahan? Samantalang si Maharlika naman, ang dating loyalista talaga ng mga Marcoses. No? At dahil siya ay napakalapit na loyalista nung nakaraan, natural lang na marami siyang mga puting ahas na magbibigay ng mga ganyang ebidensya gaya ng pulveronic video. Pero yan ang talagang nakalap ko na katotohanan na talagang hindi ako tatantanan dahil yan ay parusa dahil doon sa kanilang paghihinala na ako daw ang responsable doon sa pulveronic video. Pero malinaw naman sa tingin ko sa buong bayan na ang nangyayari dito sa Quadcom ay hindi investigasyon. Ito ay isang witch hunt. Ito ay isang kangaroo court. Mula nang binuo nila ito, ang kanilang pakay lang ay sirain ng mga Duterte at ang kanilang mga alyado. Ako na nga yung alyadong yun, no? Dahil dalawa na kami hindi Duterte na pinupuruhan dyan, si Man Scarpio na asawa ni VP Sara at ako. No? Pero malinaw din na meron ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema, no? Lalong-lalo na doon sa kaso ng Bengzon versus Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, no? Na dapat ang mga bagay-bagay na itinatanong, ang mga dokumentong hinihingi ng isang investigasyon ng Kamara at ng Senado ay meron kaugnayan naman sa iniimbestigahan. Ang iniimbestigahan dito, Pogo. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng mga personal record sa Pogo na yan? Samantalang, yung aming family corporation na Biancham, binuo yan 2014 pa, wala pa sa Pilipinas ang mga Pogo, no? At yung mga karamihan ng ari-arian na kinu-question kung saan nanggaling, nabili yan bago pa dumating sa Pilipinas yung Lucky South. Unang punto yan. Pangalawang punto, sinabi na nga ni Cassandra Ong, wala akong kinalaman sa Lucky South na yan naman talaga aking sinasabi sa mulat mula pa. No? So dapat doon pa lang, end of investigation na. Pero kung narinig nyo naman yung sinabi kanina ni Congresswoman Luristro, sinasabi niya kung hindi ko raw ma-explain kung saan galing yung increase ng valuation ng aking kumpanya, galing daw yan sa Pogo. Saan ka naman nakakita ng non-sequitur conclusion? Kung sila ay nagsasabi, tumanggap ako ng pera sa Pogo, sila magpresenta ng anong ebidensya. So malinaw po talaga yan, na sa mulat-mula, talagang ang gusto nila, ipakulong ako ng ipakulong dahil nga pinaparusahan ako dahil sa kanilang paghinala na may kinalaman ako dun sa pulveronic video na yan.
So sir, dapat dun sa statement mo kanina, you also mentioned na kung gusto talaga nilang hanapin yung increase, kasi di ba, alam naman natin, yung whatever unexplained increases, pwedeng i-attribute to corruption, di ba? I mean, for a public official at least. So, may hamon ka doon na isang pa na lang yung kaso sa labas kung may hinala talaga sila.
Tama po yun. Kasi yan naman ang sabi ng Korte Suprema. Hindi naman naglilitis ang Kongreso, no, kapag sila nag-iimbestiga. Kaya nga kinakailangan ang hihingi mga dokumento at mga tanong sa mga resource persons may kinalaman doon sa bagay na iniimbestigahan. Hayaan nila ang ibang ahensya ng gobyerno mag-imbestiga kung meron talagang dahilan. No? Pero sa tingin ko, wala. Kasi 3.5 taon lang ako nanilbihan sa gobyerno nung panahon ni Duterte, no? 1.5 bilang isang kongresista, 2 taon bilang tagapagsalita. At ako naman ay isang pribadong individual. At para baga sila ang kanilang asta, para ako'y taong gobyerno pa, 3 taon na ako wala sa gobyerno. Kaya nga sinasabi, meron na rin akong right to privacy, no? Dahil 3 taon na akong wala sa gobyerno. Pero ang punto talaga, kung sa tingin nila meron na ulit na bagdabatas, hindi po Kongreso ang forum para dyan. Meron po talagang Office of the Prosecutor, merong Office of the Ombudsman, pero hindi po yan po pwede maging nasa jurisdiction ng Kongreso. Malinaw na malinaw po yan sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Benson versus Luring Utility.
Sir, last point na lang. Recently, dito lang, parang a few minutes ago, may nag-move, I just forgot kung sinong congressman, na parang i-inform yung Bureau of Immigration about yung potential daw na pag-alis mo ng bansa in relation to yung utos na ipakuha ka nga ulit at i-possibly detain for contempt the second time around. Anong tingin nyo dito, sir? And may balak ba kayong umalis in the first place sa bansa?
Well, panunupil po yan kasi sabi rin ng Korte Suprema doon sa kaso ng GMA, hanggang walang order sa hukuman, hindi ipinagbabawal ang karapatang magbiyahe. So nakikita natin na wala pa nga akong kahit anong kasong nasasampala sa akin, gusto na nilang supilin ang aking kalayaan. Pero ako, naniniwala pa rin ako na makakakuha ko ng katarungan sa ating mga hukuman at ipinapaubaya ko na ang aking kapalaran sa ating mga hukuman.
Sir, will you resist yung order? Will you resist the order to bring you here?
I will file the corresponding remedy before the Supreme Court. At yan po ay malapit na. And I will make an announcement kung na-file ko na po yan.
So malamang, sir, habeas corpus pag kinuha kanila dito?
Well, habeas corpus at saka certiorari, grave abuse of discretion, kasi nga ang ginagawa nila, yung pangangalap ng mga dokumento na wala namang kinalaman sa investigation sa Pogo, it's grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack of jurisdiction.
Sir, safe to say, hindi ka natin sa hearing.
Ano? Safe to say na?
Hindi na po kayo atin sa hearing?
Ay, pinaaresto na nila ako, so ipapaubaya ko ng aking kalayaan sa ating hudikatura. Hayaan ko magdesisyon ng hudikatura kung tama ba yung order na yan o hindi.
Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello po. Ay, sir. Sir Roque.
Hello pa.
Opo, Sir Harry at Spokes. Mela po.
Mela.
Sir, itanong ko na lang din po bilang dating tagapagsalita ni Pangulong Duterte. Sa ngayon kasi ongoing po yung hearing and pinag-uusapan din, hindi nadawit, may mga napag-uusapan din dito na about sa 2016 na pagpatay sa mga Chinese drug lords at kinongratulate pa umano ni dating Pangulong Duterte yung nangyari ng pagpatay sa kanila. Sa inyo po, ano po nga bilang dating tagapagsalita ni dating Pangulong Duterte, ano po masasabi nyo rito at sa mga ginagawang mga natutukoy ditong links umano kay dating President Duterte?
Well, ang paniwala ko po, linulustay lang po ng Kongreso ang pera ng taong bayan sa ganitong mga investigasyon. Uulitin ko po, ang ating Kongreso, hindi po yan korte, hindi po yan piskalya. Kung sa tingin nila merong krimen na nangyari, dapat piskalya mag-imbestiga at kung merong probable cause, isampa sa hukuman. Pero pag-aaksaya po ito ng kaban ng taong bayan at oras, no? Mantakin nyo, ang daming oras na binubuhos ito hindi naman katungkulan ng Kongreso na litisin kung nagkasala o hindi ang ating presidente. Dati pa naman sinasabi ni Presidente Duterte, haharapin niya ang lahat ng kaso na ihahain sa kanya pero sa tamang forum at yan po ay sa piskalya at sa hukuman.
Sir Barry, may pagkakataon po ba nagkausap din kayo ni dating President Duterte? Nagpo-monitor din kaya siya nitong Quadcom hearing? Ano po kayong masasabi niya dito sa nadadawit yung pangalan niya?
Well, hindi po siya nababahala kasi alam naman niya na talagang kangaroo court ang nangyayari dyan sa Kongreso. Pilit nilang pinapagalit ang taong bayan laban sa mga Duterte at kanilang mga aliado, Pero sa tingin ko, sa pamamaraan na ginagawa nila na kangaroo court, lalo lang nagagalit ang taong bayan. At napapansin nga nila itong pag-aksaya ng resources ng gobyerno.
Okay, thank you so much po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, attorney.
God bless.
Thank you.
As mentioned by the Honorable Paduano, the Quadcom is in possession of the Omnibus Motion and Compliance dated September 9, 2024, filed by Attorney Harry Roque. And I wish to remind the Quadcom that this motion originated from our hearing on August 22, 2024, where in the various questions we propounded, Attorney Harry Roque expressed his commitment to produce the documents. And for the understanding of the Filipino people, Mr. Chair, I wish to share excerpt of the video of our hearing dated August 22, 2024. Secretariat, please.
Comsec?
Volume, please.
Congresswoman Luistro, please make this very quick because our topic for today is about extrajudicial
I
killings.
understand, Mr. Chair, so I will forgo with the video. To explain, Mr. Chair, this omnibus motion and compliance is made up of two parts. The first part is the motion to quash, that is from paragraph 1 to 33, and the second part is the compliance to the show cause order, which is reflected in page 34 to 43. This representation wished to make a manifestation with respect to the motion to quash filed by the Attorney Harry Roque. In support of the above motion, Mr. Chair, he raised the same arguments which have been deliberated upon already during the last hearing. And to satisfy the requirement of due process, Mr. Chair, let me reiterate our answers to the arguments which he raised. First, that the hearing is not in aid of legislation. In answer to that, let me explain, Mr. Chair, this Quadcom was created to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation pertaining to four issues which are haunting us. One is dangerous drugs. Two is extrajudicial killing. Three is the en masse acquisition of land. And four is the Pogo operation. In other words, Mr. Chair, we are indeed in exercise of our power to conduct inquiry in aid of legislation which is granted by no less than the Philippine Constitution, Mr. Chair. Second, Attorney Harry Roque argued that the documents requested are not germane to the inquiry in aid of legislation. Again, in the case of Arnold versus Nazareno, there are two requirements. One is materiality to the subject matter, and second is materiality to the possible legislation. With respect to the first requirement, Mr. Chair, it is the humble submission of this representation that the Quad Committee has established an overwhelming circumstantial evidence showing the connection of Attorney Harry Roque to Lucky South Corporation, which is a Pogo operator where we apprehended Chinese nationals victims of human trafficking, murder, and internet scam. Mr. Chair, at the height of the interpellation, we ask about the Biancham Corporation, which owns the property in Tuba, Benguet, where the IT employee of this Lucky South was apprehended. And that is where we started investigating Biancham. And then it was followed by our investigation on the subsidiary companies. As we investigate on Biancham, Mr. Chair, we found out the sudden increase of his assets in 2018, coming from 125,000 before 2016. In 2018, the current assets of Biancham rose to 125 million. At the height of the interpellation, Mr. Chair, Attorney Harry Roque articulated that his money did not come from Pogo operation. To emphasize, Mr. Chair, that statement did not come from Quadcom, did not come from this representation. Instead, it came from the mouth of Attorney Harry Roque. This is an admission, therefore, Mr. Chair, that he admits the connection of these documents which we are requiring from him from the investigation on Pogo operation that we are conducting right now. To further explain, Mr. Chair, it was admitted that he was the presidential spokesperson during that time with a very limited income. And then we asked him, where did this 65 million came from? Where did this money came from? And he could not explain except that he sold a certain property in multinational company in Parañaque. To conclude, Mr. Chair, there is a question about the source of the money of Biancham Corporation, which belongs to Attorney Harry Roque. And following his question, if he will not be able to prove the legal and valid source of this sudden increase of assets of Biancham, then there is a reasonable ground to believe that indeed he is connected with Pogo operation and this money possibly came from the Pogo operation. The second element, Mr. Chair, is the materiality to the possible legislation. And during the last hearing, Mr. Chair, we reiterated ano po ba ang mga batas na posibleng aamyendahan, muling pag-aaralan in connection to this Quadcom hearing. And we cited RA 3019. This is the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act na baka sakali na ang ating mga government officials ay nakorrupt because of this Pogo operation. We also have Code of Professional Responsibility of Government Officials that we need to revisit already the provisions of this law to make sure that the government officials and employees do not deviate from what is being mandated by the Code of Professional Responsibility of Government Officials. We also have anti-money laundering. Kulang po ba ang probisyon ng anti-money laundering? At nagkaroon ng mga transfer ng huge amount of money in spite of the existence of this law. We also have corporation law. Bakit po ba nagagamit na shield ang mga corporation in perpetrating illegal activities? We can also consider, Mr. Chair, the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability for lawyers. Ito po ba'y saklaw pa if the lawyers already protecting illegal activities of their client? In addition to this, Mr. Chair, we have established already the need to revisit the laws such as the PSA Charter dahil naabuso po ang ating batas patungkol sa late registration, our immigration law on visa issuance, the PAGCOR Charter on licensing of Pogo, and the cybercrime law or RA 10175. Mr. Chair, to proceed, another argument that was raised is the right to self-incrimination. And I wish to share again the case of De La Cruz versus People. Napakaliwanag po sa batas na ito. When we speak about the right against self-incrimination, we're talking only about testimonial evidence. And this time, Mr. Chair, what we are asking are documents. The documents which he promised to produce during the hearing of August 22, 2024. Fourth, Mr. Chair, he invoked the right to privacy. And again, in the case of Standard Chartered Bank versus Senate Committee citing the case of Sabio versus Gordon. The right to privacy is subordinated to the right to public information in matters of public interest. In other words, Mr. Chair, if there is a conflict between the right of privacy versus the right to public information on matters of public interest, the latter should prevail. Mas mataas po ang right to public information on matters of public interest kumpara sa right to privacy. And finally, Mr. Chair, he invoked the right to due process. This is the purpose of our hearing, to give ample opportunity to our resource speaker to explain their side. We satisfy amply the requirement of notice and even the requirement of hearing. But we are all witnesses. He has been dispensing his opportunity to be able to explain before the Quad all the possible allegations which are being imputed by this investigation. Mr. Chair, I wish to add as well, as part of this manifestation, that when he filed the motion to quash, prior to the receipt of the written subpoena, wala pa pong written subpoena na tinatanggap si Attorney Harry Roque. Nag-file na siya ng motion to quash. Why? Because he knows already during the meeting that he expressed his commitment to produce the documents. Reason why we issued the subpoena. To my humble opinion, Mr. Chair, he waived already his right to receive the written subpoena. Second, Mr. Chair, during the last hearing, we extensively discussed his arguments and our answers why we denied his first motion to quash. And third, Mr. Chair, in this motion, omnibus motion and compliance, siya po mismo ang nagsabi. Same arguments ang niraise niya. As a matter of fact, he said he is refiling the motion to quash. In other words, Mr. Chair, lahat po ng nakasulat dito ay nasagot na natin during the last hearing. I therefore submit, Mr. Chair, that we should deny this omnibus motion, particularly the motion to quash, because this is already moot and academic. I submit, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Luistro.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Flores.
Mr. Chair, as extensively discussed by Congressman Luistro, stating the grounds why we are in the right as far as our requests for him to submit these documents, and his continued refusal to submit these documents to this Quad Committee, Mr. Chair. I move, Mr. Chair, that we hold Harry Roque in contempt, Attorney Harry Roque in contempt, for refusing to submit the documents subject of the subpoena duces tecum, and of which he has manifested that he was going to submit to this committee, Mr. Chair. I so move, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to cite Attorney Harry Roque in contempt, and this was duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Now, just for clarification, we are citing Attorney Harry Roque in violation of Section 11,
D.
Paragraph D.
Paragraph D, Mr. Chair, for refusing to comply with the subpoena, duces tecum, and to submit the documents we requested of him, Mr. Chair. Now, Mr. Chair, in addition, Mr. Chair, I move that we hold Harry Roque in detention for the period of until he submits the documents or until the Quad Committee is dissolved, Mr. Chair.
There is a motion to detain Attorney Harry Roque as long as this committee conducts its hearing,
Mr. Chair,
and until we terminate,
or until he submits the
or
documents.
until he
that we
submits
have
the
asked.
documents required of him.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And this was duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Congressman
Mr. Chair.
Abante.
Mr. Chair, in addition to what Congresswoman Luistro said, ito pong si Harry Roque is actually a person with a two-faced attitude. This representation recognizes that we have a full plate and that we need to hear the testimonies of resource persons who have been invited to our hearing today. But I feel compelled to raise a matter that I believe should be addressed by this honorable body. Isa sa mga iniimbita natin sa ating inquiry, si Atty. Harry Roque. Hindi lang po siya dating presidential spokesperson, he is also a former colleague of ours in the House of Representatives. At dahilan dito, we were very kind to him. In fact, our senior deputy speaker even asked him only to be detained for 1 day, of which he even questioned that, Mr. Chair. So in the course of our hearings, Atty. Roque was cited in contempt on August 22 for being untruthful about the circumstances surrounding his absence during our August 16 hearing. After being detained and after apologizing to the members of the House, Atty. Roque then went on Facebook and posted, and I quote, "In my view, the contempt ruling smacks of abuse of power and political harassment against an anti-Marcos Jr. critic like me," end of quote. Ay napaka-doble cara naman pala ni Atty. Harry Roque, Mr. Chair. I find this disturbing because if I remember correctly, Atty. Roque was asked if he recognizes the power of the House to hold him in contempt. And he said yes. But the moment he was no longer in our presence, Mr. Chair, he went out and publicly questioned the contempt ruling and accused us of abusing this power. I believe that we cannot countenance such behavior, Mr. Chair. Naging mabait pa tayo sa kanya. I even asked if the Quad Committee would hold in abeyance the contempt charge, just because we were actually kind to him. So this manifestation is being spoken today to inquire if the statements made by Atty. Roque outside our hearings should be grounds to hold him also in contempt, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Abante. Yes, I believe we can defer discussion on that particular manifestation at the moment because we have just cited Atty. Harry Roque in contempt for violating Section 11 of our Rules of Procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation, which states that failure to submit subpoenaed documents before the committee is a ground to cite him in contempt. So for the meantime, since there was already a motion that was approved unanimously by the body, another motion is also is appropriate, and to where he will be detained. Is there any motion?
Mr. Chair, I submit to the motion of Congressman Flores, no? And I would want to make a motion that Atty. Roque should be detained in the Women's Correction. Women's Correction. Hindi po. Doon na lang sa bikutan natin. Mr. Chair, sorry po sa pagkakamali.
So, is that a motion, Congressman Abante? Or Congressman Kit?
Mr. Chair, in deference to Atty. Roque being a former member of this House, Mr. Chair, I move that he be detained in the House premises, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Second the motion. Okay, there is a motion to detain him, detain Atty. Harry Roque at the House of Representatives Detention Facility. And this was duly seconded. Any objection? No objection. The motion is approved.
Mr. Chair, very quick. Mr. Chair.
Okay, just please make this very, very quick because the topic today is EJK.
Mr. Chair,
So
just for
after-
the sake of giving due course to this omnibus motion and compliance, particularly with respect to the motion to quash, I respectfully move that we disregard the motion to quash on the ground of being moot and academic.
Yes, as stated earlier by Congresswoman Jinky Luistro, we will stand by our previous decision of denying his motion to quash. And again, reiterated by the decisions of the Supreme Court that was cited by Congresswoman Luistro and Congressman Keith Flores. Now,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman Rog Gutierrez.
Mr. Chair, very shortly, just on the matter of the omnibus
make it
motion.
short, yes.
We still have the matter of the response to the show cause order. And I understand it's superfluous given the contempt order, but I think, Mr. Chair, as a body, we should rule on it. And in my opinion, it cites an unspecified condition and an unspecified surgery. It makes mention of an unspecified medical facility. It has been unsubstantiated. And my understanding is, it was imparted to me by the ComSec. He did not even submit the medical certificates.
Are you referring to the medical certificate to be submitted to the Quad by the wife of Attorney
No,
Harry
Mr.
Roque?
Chair. This is in response to the show cause order because this is the third absence already by Mr. Attorney Harry Roque. The first absence, the excuse was appearance in arbitration. The second absence was with no written response. And now we issued the show cause order last hearing, and now he has responded through the motion. It was omnibus po. There was a second part of the show cause order. And it would appear, Mr. Chair, that it's an unsubstantiated answer. And I believe, as a matter of course, we should issue a subpoena, Mr. Chair. Although superfluous given the contempt order, I still think that we should move to issue a subpoena at testificandum, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move to issue a subpoena for failure to properly answer the show cause order.
Okay, there is a motion to issue a subpoena to Attorney Harry Roque, subpoena ad testificandum for Attorney Harry Roque. And this was duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you, Congressman Gutierrez. Yes, Congressman Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed.
Just for the record, Mr. Chairman, I would like to put on record, since this is just an AJK hearing in today's hearing, a lot of invitees was issued a subpoena for the past hearings. Now, let me put on record, Mr. Chairman, that we have issued subpoena for Hongsing Gaming Technology Incorporated, for all those officers of the Hongsing Gaming Incorporated, also to Sun Yuan Technology Incorporated, Baofu Land Corporation Incorporated, Lucky South 999 Outsourcing Incorporated, and Lucky South 999 Limited Company. And also with we have issued a subpoena ad testificandum for the Whirlwind officers of the Whirlwind Corporation, Mr. Chairman. Just for the record, I suggest that we will just tackle this issue on the next hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, today's topic is limited to the extrajudicial killings, and in the
Mr.
subsequent...
Chair, before we proceed with the AJK, I'd like to find out also the status of Attorney Harry Roque. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Congressman Benny Abante, we will ask Congressman Paduano to reply to your query as to questions that you raised on Attorney Harry Roque. Congressman Paduano?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the indulgence of course, Congressman Co-Chair Abante, let me read the issuance of a subpoena dos tecum to Mr. Harry Roque with regards to documents that he has committed during the previous hearing, Mr. Chairman. Number one, the medical and hospital records and proof of those surgeries performed on his wife, Ms. Myla Roque. Number two, deed of sale and BRR and transfer tax payments of the 1.8 hectares land in Multinational Village, Parañaque. Number three, all documents submitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission regarding the transfer of shares to Attorney Percival S. Ortega. including trust agreement with the latter. Number 4, extrajudicial settlement of estate of a named aunt, including corresponding BR tax returns. Number 5, statement of assets and liabilities, or SALN, from 2016 to 2022, with proof of receipt. Number 6, income tax return of Jancham Holdings and Trading Incorporated for calendar years 2014 to 2022. Number 7, Attorney and Ms. Roque's income tax for calendar years 2014 to 2022. Number 8, judicial affidavit executed by Ms. Ronaldin Baterna. And lastly, judicial affidavit executed by Catherine Cassandra Ong. Mr. Chairman, just for the information of everyone, we have received today another motion to quash from Attorney Harry Roque. And for the record will show that we have already discussed lengthily and through the Vice Chairperson, the Committee of Public Accounts, Vice Chair, the Honorable Luistro, during that hearing, to deny the motion to quash that was sent to us by Attorney Harry Roque. And it was unanimously approved, Mr. Chairman. So with that, Mr. Chairman, what's the pleasure of the Chair and the Honorable Committee with regards to
Mr. Chair.
the issuance of a subpoena doses TECOM for all those listed documents that I have mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mag-subscribe at i-click ang notification bell para sa mga susunod na video updates. Maraming salamat po.